Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a tier list of hand traps for the upcoming Blazing Dominion post-banlist format. I'm going to be going through every single card, just discussing what I feel about them in the new format. Like the categories here are quite vague. It's going to have a lot more nuance when we talk about individual why I think each card goes in each spot. And like a lot of these things are going to depend as well. Like a lot of the hand traps I'm going to end up in good are going to be like 1-for-1 hand traps that Cool Tune plays a lot of. So you would think they're very good because they're playing tons, but a lot of these cards are like hand traps that you want to draw in a hand trap deck. So you want to draw multiple because on their own they won't do enough. But as we go through them, we'll talk about them all at one time. The first card we're going to talk about is Droll. I'm going to put this in very good. It might be a little bit overrated right now because it's still early format and people are inexperienced and don't play around this card as much. But this card being in the format does also make people play differently. So they do have to play around it a lot more. And I think that against Cool Tune, if they have Rotary, Cool Tune Synchro, or Q, this card will do nothing. Yes, that is very true. However, if they have any of the starters which are not those 9 specific cards, this is the only one hand trap you can draw that will have a very high impact, I think. Because in general, hand traps against Cool Tune are not very good. So I could see Droll seeing play in decks that don't have a lot of non-engine room, or they like to play some hand traps and then majority board breakers, so you can have something like Droll to weaken the board, and then a board breaker could push through it. But I could also see Droll seeing play in all the hand trap decks as well, just because it has a chance of when you draw it alone actually doing enough against Cool Tune specifically. It's very good against Sky Striker, which is predicted to be another top deck, and Mitsurugi. I think it's also very good against, obviously. It's not great against Branded. It's pretty decent against Elf Note. I wouldn't say it's insane, and it's decent against Doomsday as well. So I think its coverage is very good. It has the chance to blank a Cool Tune turn, which is not something that any other hand trap in the format can really do, to be honest. For that, I think it has very high potential, and I'm going to put it in very good. Delta. I think this card is very good right now. It has the potential to just be a side deck only like thing in Cool Tune, because going first, it's really not going to do a whole lot, and sometimes you want your non-engine to do things in Cool Tune. But I think I'm still going to put it in the very good category. Spell negates are very premium right now. It's very good against Branded. It's good against Striker. It's good against Mitsurugi. It's even fine against Cool Tune. You can hit the overtake. You can hit the Cool Tune Synchro. Something I was talking about with Droll as well is Droll is also kind of better against Cool Tune than it was before, because they're cutting 2 synchro overtakes, and their replacements often play into Droll. They're playing stuff like Duelist Genesis, not very good into Droll. They're playing stuff like Pot of Prosperity or Pot of Desires, or things that people are considering as their replacements. And Droll in general is just very good against those. Like some people were playing 2 mix before, they're playing 3 now. Droll is like very good against mix. With Delta, I think it's like, I think you should see it in almost every side deck for Cool Tune, but we could also see it in main decks if negates are at a premium, even though it is a lot weaker going first, of course, but I still think it's very good. Speaking of that, we're also speaking about Gamma. Gamma, very good card. Like, been a broken hand trap forever. It's that one for a reason. If you're playing a Cyphering package, Gamma will be in your deck. And I don't think I have to explain that it's a very good card. Negates the body, removes the body. Very good. We'll go into Ash. I put this card in good. This card, if you draw it alone, will not do enough in any deck, against any deck, unless your opponent has opened a terrible hand. And that's going to be the case for most of these hand traps that we put in the good category. They're cards that Cool Tune often plays and hand trap decks often play, but they play them with the intent of drawing multiple of them, because drawing them alone is not good enough. I think I've seen a lot of decks this format that are playing Ash that aren't big hand trap decks, and I think that's wrong. I don't think you should be doing that. I think there's a chance Charmies aren't that popular this format, so you don't really need them for Ash. You don't really need Ash for the Charmies. And I think if you're not playing a ton of hand traps, having an Ash Blossom in your deck against decks like Cool Tune is just not going to do enough. I feel like if you're going to play board breakers, commit to board breakers. Maybe play Charmies plus board breakers. I feel like I've seen so many builds for the upcoming format where they're playing like 9 board breakers and they've still got Ash in their deck. I don't see the point in that. Next one we're going to talk about is Bell. It's the same category as Ash, to be honest. Obviously, it's a bit worse than Ash. Hits a bunch of things in Cool Tune, hits all the main deck monsters, can hit Overtake, but that card's at 1 now. Has the disadvantage that it doesn't hit Cool Tune Synchro like Ash does. It's decent against Branded. It can hit like Fall on the White Dragon, can hit the Synchro, can hit Virtuous to Reborn. But Ash is better, of course. And can hit like Rinbrum on your opponent's turn, which is like a niche interaction, which is quite good. But yeah, it's fine. If you draw it alone, it's not going to do enough. It's better against Mitsurugi and Sky Striker than some of the other hand traps on this tier list, so it may end up a bit higher. But for now, we'll stick it in good. Effect Veiler card is obviously a premium in Cool Toon because it's a level 1. So when you get stopped, you can extend with it with any of your level 3 bodies. And then Effect Negation just kind of is how Cool Toon likes to play. So I feel like it will see like a lot more play, and like I don't think you should be playing this in decks that aren't Cool Toon, to be honest, or decks that play like 15 to 18 hand traps. If you're playing like Elf Note with 15 to 18 hand traps, I can see this scene play because it's a level 1 tuner as well, so it can get you to your plays. But outside of that, I don't think you should play it in any deck that isn't like a hand trap pile deck at the moment, because it's really not impactful enough. Speaking of the same like, we'll speak of Imperm. I'm weirdly gonna put Veiler above Imperm right now, which is not something you generally like to do, but it's simply because of how the format is right now. If you were to play this in a bunch of the decks of the format, so let's say Cool Toon, obviously you'd rather draw Veiler than Imperm in Cool Toon most of the time because it's a level 1 extender. Against in Elf Note, I think Veiler might also be better as well because it's a level 1 tuner. So if you get to special your Elf Note in the middle, you use the effect, you get negated, you can normal summon Veiler, you can make Strelitzia, you can play from there, but an Imperm doesn't do anything there. If you were weirdly enough deciding to play like hand traps and branded, this card is a late spellcaster. You can use it for your branded and high spirits, where something like Imperm can't be. But I think it's one of those rare formats where Veiler is a better card than Imperm in most of the meta decks. Obviously, there are meta decks where there is no synergy with Veiler, and then Imperm is the obvious choice. But for now, because of most of the meta decks in this format, I'm actually weirdly going to put Veiler above Imperm. Next one we'll talk about is Harmonia. I guess this one's controversial for some reason, but this card is very good. I think I think there's not a whole bunch of reasons to not be playing this, to be honest. I think the arguments that it doesn't negate, therefore it's not worth playing, is not very well held together. It's not like the highest impact card in the world against like the Cool Toon matchup, but I think its coverage, it just makes it insane. It's good. It's good enough against Cool Toon, in my opinion. It's good against branded because it can hit the synchro. You can even like hit Cartesia, let the synchro banish itself, and then send Prima Donna, and Prima Donna shuffle back the Cartesia and just like rip 2 of their cards away from them. You can also hit Fallen of Albaz, which is one of their like branded premium disruptions against you. I think against the branded matchup is very good. It's okay against Striker, which is like one of the weaknesses of this card is that the coverage amongst the current top decks isn't even that good. But I can see some arguments for it not being amazing because against Striker, it has some uses. It's not dead against Striker. Against Mitsurugi, it's not very good at all. But I think against Cool Toon and Branded, it's good enough. And then of course, against Doomsday, this card is absurd. This is one of the best hand traps in the game against Doomsday. So I think you still should be playing it. And if there's synergy with your deck, even better. I think this with Lulu Lilith in the branded Elf Note deck is like strong enough reason to even consider that deck sometimes, because you have a hand trap which is really strong removal, but it is also engine access, which applies pressure on the following turn, can be really good. And like stuff like the Wind Pegasus as well comes up even against like Mitsurugi. When you do get to trigger, it can have some value. So I would still consider this card very good. I still think you should be playing it in Cool Toon decks, which I've seen like there's some controversy around that, but I think you should. Ghost Ogre. This card's kind of similar to Harmonia, but I do think it is worse, obviously. Ogre has some niches where Harmonia doesn't, where it can hit some continuous spells. It can hit like Welcome Home, can hit the Elf Note trap card, can hit like JJ Tribute a Monster, other things like that. But I do think it is worse than Harmonia in general. However, I do think Cool Toon should probably play at least one of this for the Doomsday and for the branded matchups for summoning it off of Q for going second. If your opponent doesn't play around it, you can punish them very hard. This can check the Albaz or it can check the Drastia to rank up. But outside of that, I'm not sure I would play more than one, but it does have some niche scenarios where it is quite good. Nibiru, for now, I'm going to stick this card in Don't Play. It could also be a side deck thing for if you're like scared of rogue decks, but the only real rogue deck that I would consider this card is very good against right now is like Yummy variants from last format or Malice. It's still good against Malice, always has been. I don't think it's particularly great against Mitsurugi. It's obviously bad against Striker, Branded, Doom. I don't think it's very good against Doomsday either. It's not good against Cool Toon. So for now, I'm going to stick it down here. I think it could be okay against Fairy Tail. I haven't tested enough, but like I'm playing against Fairy Tail a little bit recently and it seems not awful there. But for now, I'd still stick it down and Don't Play. Let's talk about some Dominus cards. We'll start with Purge first. This one is like identical to Ash almost, so it's going to sit right next to it. all the same reasons you would play Ash, you would play Purge if your deck can accommodate it. It's just, again, it's not something I would play in a deck that isn't very hand trap focused because it's like not high impact enough unless you draw multiple. But if you're playing multiple, you should probably play Purge. Spark, I think I'm gonna put up in the very good right now. It could be good, towards the top of good because like against like Kultun, it can be a little bit low impact sometimes, but I think against the general meta, it is very strong. Just like banish removal from the hand that your opponent has to think about actively, unless they bring Kultun, then they just get to know for free. But I do think it is still a very strong card against most decks in the format. Impulse, this card is always absurd in my opinion. Can interact with most of the format, stops almost every Kultun monster, stops Kultun Synchro, stops Synchro Overtake, stops Ritual against Mitsurugi, stops most of the branded cards. It's pretty good against Doom Z as well. If they try to use Drastia hand effect to destroy a card on their field and you impulse that and they get stuck in their hand, they can be very good. Impulse has just been strong for a long time, so unsurprisingly, it's going to end up in the very good category. Songs of the Dominators, I think it's okay. I think if your deck can accommodate it, and like a deck that could possibly play this, I've seen play this as the pure Power Patron deck where they play like Songs, Impulse, and Spark, and I think that, and maybe Imperm as well. I think that hand trap lineup's really strong, so I could see that being good in decks like that for effect negation. Then also like getting to search these. It is a hand trap which loses to Ash Blossom, which is not the strongest thing sometimes. But I think if you get to play a bunch of trap cards as your non-engine, this card would be very good just because it gives you access to these as well while negating a monster effect. Also has more niche applications going second, where if like it can negate remix on field, it can negate Zagon on field, it can negate monster effects on field that are activating while you're trying to play into a board. So if your deck isn't hurt by this, I think it's a good consideration. Shifter, this card should be banned for a reason. This card's very good. Good against almost every deck in the format. Mitsurugi doesn't really care, and Doomsy is it plays this card itself, so it doesn't really care outside a few of the starters. Unsurprisingly, Shifter is always very good, so we're going to stick it up there. Kua, I think is still main deck worthy. I wouldn't play this card in something that plays a bunch of like, I think it's main deck worthy along with Breakers. I think with Breakers, this card is paired is very good. Your opponent sees it, you activate it early against Kultun, they give you one draw to see your hand. And then oftentimes, if they see a Breaker in your hand, they might have to give you another draw, because passing on the Trackmaker won't be enough if your hand is Strong Engine plus Breaker. So it can give you multiple draws. It can manipulate the top deck if they've already changed it with Q, then have to give you another draw. I think paired with Breakers, it's very good. I'm not sure it would see much play in like a massive hand trap deck, because if you're playing a hand trap deck, your goal should be to stop Kultun from playing. But if you Fuwa and you get your first draw after they've already made a Trackmaker with a Rotary, you're not stopping them from playing. They're doing almost everything they want to. So I think in a hand trap deck, I wouldn't like to see this, but I think in board breaker decks, this card is very good. Reaper, I'm gonna stick this in side deck. It is early format. I don't think it might not be the best card in the format, but I think it is a side deck possibility. It can have applications against in the Kultun deck against like the mirror match, but it is punished by Kultun Synchro, so it's not absurd. I've seen people in Kultun play like Doomsy cards in the extra deck for it, or like I don't know if you'd want to bother playing Striker, but you can play branded cards as well. But it's side deck at the maximum, and even then, if the side deck parity may not even end up that big, but it would be at the bottom of side deck. I think it's not the best card. Retail C, another side deck card, but like it depends on like how the format develops. This card's very good against Sky Striker. But if Sky Striker isn't as popular, then it might not end up seeing a whole bunch of play. It's not. I think it has some applications skills to Kultun, but I don't know how I feel about siding this card as like a Kultun counter. It might not be that good. Against branded, I don't think it's very good. Against Striker, it's good. Against Mitsurugi, it's not very good. It's not very. I don't think it's great against Doomsy. So it will be a side deck card at most, and I don't think it will see that much side deck play either. The Hecahan's Godos. I think this card could see some side deck play. Has some niche implications in the Kultun mirror match. The card could be very good. Outside of that, I'm not sure I would play it in any of their mirrors. Just the Kultun mirror match is probably something worth testing. If it doesn't seem great, then yeah, we move it down and play. But for now, I think it's early format. It's cool. Contact C. Right now, everyone's respecting this card too much that I would say don't play. It's a possibility it could be a side deck card, but most people are playing a level 7 target in their extra deck so that they have something to synchro the Contact C off with. Either they play the Prima Donna, or they play the shooting Riser Dragon. So I would say right now it's a little bit too respected. I don't think it's particularly great against other matchups. Like Cooltoon would be the main one. All the other ones kind of have like generic link monsters they can make. I guess it can be. I've not tested it against branded. Maybe it could be weird, but I don't think it's that insane. Mourner. I don't think this card's very good. I've seen this card in decks. I don't think I would play Mourner right now. It's just like it's effect negation, but it's weaker effect negation that only works on special summon. And against Cooltoon specifically, like when they're special summoning, they're already playing. There's nothing you can Mourner that's going to stop them from playing. Like you can Mourner their Trap Maker, but they're still going to get their Rotary Search and like see your hand, and then like likely still play from there. I don't think it's going to do high impact enough for you to play it. Phantasme, another don't play. I'd say there's not like this card's good against Sky Striker, but it's probably like the only deck in the format that I would say that is strong enough against Sky Striker, and Malice, I guess, are options where you could play this card. But I don't think those decks are going to be relevant enough for you to like side deck specifically for them. So I'd stick it in the don't play category. Purulia, I think this card could still be worth side decking. It's not amazing against Cooltoon. It's not great against branded. It can be okay against Mitsurugi. It's okay against Malice. It's okay against Doomsday. It's good against Elfnot, because stuff like these low, like you kind of want your Charmings against Elfnot is like one of the best ways to counter that deck, and Purulia is one of the best ways you can do it. This card's very good against Fairy Tail if that deck picks up in playability because of Fairy Tail Snow. I have seen a little bit more hype around the Fairy Tail deck, so this card's very good against it along with Droll. So we're going to stick at the top of side deck. I think it is still something you could play from our rogue matchups. Like Vanquish Soul is still going to exist as well. I could see Purulia is still sticking in the side deck. Meows, I don't think this card's very good. It can be okay against Mitsu, but most of the time they can just play around it and not give you many draws at all. Good against Malice, but again, that's going to be a good deck, but I don't think it's going to have high representation. And against the rest of the format, this card's not very good. Lancia, if you really hit Malice, you can stick this card in your side deck if you want, but like that deck's not going to be that popular enough for me to consider putting this card in my side deck, so I'm going to stick it in the don't play category. Izuna, this is weird. This card is like, as a hand trap, is not amazing right now. Like it doesn't do enough. Like you've got the Valon, Book of Moon, or you've got the Nash Knight Take, which I think against most of the decks in the format isn't going to do enough. Obviously, if you're playing a K9 deck, you're going to play this card, so you can ignore this don't play thing. But I think if you're playing this card as an actual hand trap or interruption, I would say don't play it. Dominus Spiral, this card's not been very good. Like the bounce is, it can be fine, but then they get to summon something from their graveyard, which is often pretty good, where it doesn't have as much of it has a much bigger drawback than the Dominus Spark. Plus, less decks can play this. I don't think that Spiral is very good. I wouldn't really consider it right now. DD Crow, this card can be okay. It's fine against like it's good against branded, but Bystials are better. I should mention there should be Bystials on here. I forgot to put that on, sorry. But Bystials I would put on good. I think Bystials are fine. They're good against branded, good against Striker, good against Mitsurugi. Against Cooltoon, they're not amazing. Magnamut specifically can be good if you're playing Magnamut in your deck as an engine piece. Like if you have dragons in your deck as engine, like if you're playing Doomsday or branded, you can play Magnamut in your main deck and no other Bystial targets, just because it won't usually generate an interrupt against Cooltoon, but Magnamut can banish the Rotary from their graveyard, which could matter, but then it will also trigger to search you for your engine, and then also at the end phase, it will shuffle your deck. So your queue, that you're not stacked by queue anymore, it will give you an engine piece and shuffle your deck, which is quite high impact, even though it's not actually generating an interrupt for them. So Magnamut I would probably put in the very good category if you're playing a dragon deck. The rest of the Bystials, down in good. And I'd put DD Crow. I think it depends on the format. You could see this card, say, be play in the side deck. It's better than Bystials against Sky Striker because you can Crow the Engage out of the graveyard when they go for Kagari. Bystials are better against Mitsurugi, in my opinion. Bystials are better against Branded. And I'm not sure Crow would be very good against Cooltoon or Doomsday. So it's still side deck, but a very niche side deck, to be honest. So it won't see a lot of play, in my opinion. And that's it for the tier list, guys. Let me know what you think about my opinions on this. Give me your own thoughts in the comments down below. And I'll make a board breaker tier list soon. Thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe.